Our next speaker, a good friend of mine, is Pat Wesch. I've known him since I got involved with NORML Nebraska, and I like to think we've become, well, at least okay friends. I don't know if I go good friends or not. Pat's going to be talking about cannabis, dying for a cure. Let's welcome Pat.
Before I start my speech, like John said, let's see if I can get here. My name's Pat Wesch, and I was asked to be a board member after a friend of mine died of cancer. You have to excuse me, I might get emotional because I'm on a pretty crazy medicine I'll talk about too. A friend of mine died of cancer and was unable to use cannabis because he's on the GI Bill, and he was on the liver transplant list. When he died, it angered me, and I was asked to serve on the board, and I decided I needed to. And Beverly and John and I had the pleasure last winter of speaking on television, and we got on a rather long and unusual Facebook discussion afterwards. And the lack of humanity that some of the people showed to Beverly for going out of her way to try and help people and tell her story embarrassed me as a human being, quite honestly. I suffer from migraine headaches, and I've never been on medicine most of my life. They put me on a thing called Divalproex. It is actually an epilepsy medicine, and my neurologist said I wasn't yellow and my eyes weren't yellow, so I was probably okay, which is kind of a scary thought. Here's just a little bit of my, it says life-threatening liver failure has occurred in patients taking this medicine. Life-threatening, but yet I can't take cannabis. Cases of life-threatening inflammation of the pancreas have occurred with use of this medicine. Report any stomach pain, nausea, vomiting, or loss of appetite to your doctor at once. Part of the side effects, I do get very emotional when I get angry. I get very angry, I get tremors, I get very, very tired. I work by myself. I'm on call 24 hours. And I can get called out middle of the night, and when they come on, I can be tired just so immediately quick that I think that is probably pretty scary for the people who have to see me on the highways in the middle of the night. Severe allergic reactions, hives, abnormal thinking, which John probably say I'm guilty of before this medicine. Change in menstrual period, I might be okay there. Change in behavior, chest pains, confusion, hallucinations. It's pretty scary, this. But here's my speech, and this will say it all. Cannabis, dying for a cure. When profits and corporate gain are deemed more valuable than the greatest commodity of all, life, there is a problem. When these people or group of people are caught causing harm, instead of criminal charges, in most cases there is a class action lawsuit. Millions of dollars in damages might be given to the plaintiffs, as in the movie Erin Brockovich, based on a story of a lady named Erin Brockovich, an actual crusader, who caught a large corporation taking the story, large company whose actions for the sake of large profit caused many people to become gravely ill, and in some cases for them to die. They paid a fine, although a large one, it was just a fine. Today we have similar injustices going on. Many people are sick, dying, various ailments, and being denied a medication that would help and in some cases save many. It is not an experimental drug. It is in fact an herb with a history of safe use dating back 5,000 years to early China. All of these years there has never been as much as one documented death from its use. How would you feel if someone you loved suffered needlessly or died when you knew this would at the very least give them a chance, in many cases work and help them? Would you refuse to help out a loved one who needed this? You thought there might be a chance it might help them? What if it was you? You might have guessed by now I'm talking about medical marijuana, but at this point, let's quit calling it marijuana, which is a slang term used by a politician who used this name when he was a driving force behind making it illegal for what can only be best described as personal gain. Let us save that story for another time. Let us call it what it is, cannabis. The real name of this herb and an ingredient in many medicines before it became illegal. A move at the time that was opposed by the American Medical Association. Today, many of medicines used have a list of possible side effects that are frightening at best. Many like the list I just read you. They tell us that only a small amount of people suffer these problems. What if you are one of the people who happens to suffer? What if you take all these medicines the doctors give you and you don't get any relief? I would like to talk to you about some of these people that I know. Although I've known about cannabis for years and was a regular smoker when I was younger, I really had no idea. I'd always found it cruel to deny people who were suffering from cancer or AIDS patients. I found it cruel that they denied people who had cancer or AIDS. I cannot tell you the outrage I felt when I read an article about a gentleman by the name of Rick Simpson. This man claimed to have cured cancer patients with a high-quality hemp oil. Could this be true? I had a very close friend suffering from cancer and like many of Rick's patients wasn't given much of a chance to survive. He was given a pill form of chemo which did nothing more than make him suffer greatly. I told him what I had found out and offered to take him to Canada personally, if needed. He told me that he just couldn't happen as he was on the liver transplant list and would be kicked off it if he flunked a UA. He was also afraid of losing his GI benefits. Well, my friend did lose his benefits. He lost his life benefits as he lost his struggle with life. I had another friend suffering from hepatitis C and dying. She was refused and then let in to a nursing home to die because she had a small amount of cannabis in her system. Talk about lack of humanity for a fellow human being. I have another friend who is suffering from cancer right now. They were brought into the office of their boss. They were told that they had heard that cannabis, well, marijuana, could be of great help to somebody suffering from cancer. It could help with various things. Told them how much they supported them in their fight. The next morning they were promptly UA'd and have been UA'd 3 times when nobody else at this business gets tested. I don't know how some people are really going to have the guts to speak to their maker when that day comes. Many of these people were dying for a change. And in my last friend's case, I just hope she doesn't have to die for a change. What are you willing to do to help them? As bad as this is, I've had the privilege of meeting people who have been able to use this as a medicine. Some in this state, some in cannabis legal states, and there are now 17. I have a friend with Crohn's disease who would not be alive without it. His mother backs up the sentiments. I have a friend and an ex-board member, Ryan, moved to Colorado for medical access, who is one of only 4% of people who suffer tremendous side effects. He uses the cannabis to survive the large amount of pills he has to take daily for his post-cancer issues, and gone from being in the hospital monthly for treating a staph infection to being able to treat it with an oil, and he has not been in the hospital since he has moved to Colorado. Diabetes, chronic pain, fibromyalgia, AIDS, lupus, MS, Alzheimer's, glaucoma. The list goes on and on with disease that are backed up with scientific research. Research that is made very difficult to get, with the many who stand to lose funding getting in the way and doing everything to help this herb stay as a Schedule I drug, meaning there is no known medical use for it, even though there is Marinol in synthetic form of THC, and soon to come out Sativex, which actually uses cannabis extract. People are dying for these policies to change. The National Institute of Drug Abuse made the National Cancer Institute change their research papers last year to hide the fact of cancer-killing properties of cannabis. People are dying for a change. Smoking is not the only way to use this medicine. Edibles, tinctures, lotions, balm, and salves are just some of them. All you seem to hear by the media today is marijuana is so much stronger than what it used to be. They never seem to mention strains like Harlequin. Its THC content is very low, but CBD content is extremely high. They never seem to mention all the success stories and people who are alive today. You never hear about the people in the government programs who get their cannabis once a month courtesy of the U.S. government. There were 14, only 4 of them live today. One was a Nebraska resident from Fremont who had glaucoma, was told she would go blind, had access to the best medical care in the world. Safe access is so vitally important for so many sick people. Every time a dispensary is raided, many people who depend on it suffer. Not only do you not have to deal with the criminal element, but you get access to a medicine that is chemical-free, bug-free, the exact strain needed for your particular illness or ailment, and a consistent product time after time, just to name a few. Now is the time for us to stand up and be heard. It is time to tell the big pharmaceutical companies, insurance companies, government agencies, and politicians, we will be silent no longer. Stand up and be counted. Tell them you demand change. Do it before someone you know, or even you, is dying for a change. Thank you.